So there are only a few gadgets out there, a few dash cams out there which really impress me a lot, and the one which I'm about to show you does belong to that particular list. I'm talking about the Vantrue N5 4-channel dashcam, and this dashcam gets some impressive list of features which I'm quite happy to share with you. So in this video I'll be showing you the top 12 features of the Vantrue N5 4-channel dashcam, and by the time you finish watching this video you might just be convinced to go ahead and buy this for yourself. So before you watch the rest of this video, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and of course don't forget to like this video as well. You're watching Travel Tech. Let's get started. So starting with the most highlighted feature, the Vantrue N5 is the world's first 4-channel dashcam to get a groundbreaking 360-degree coverage around the car. This dashcam gives you that all-round protection which you have always wanted from a dashcam, and there's no other camera that can come close to the range of field of view that this dashcam can provide for you. The second important point of this dashcam is the field of view that each camera lens provides. The front dash camera provides a field of view of 158 degrees. The front cabin camera and the rear cabin camera provide close to 180 degrees. That's about 160 degrees field of view. The rear camera on the other hand provides you a staggering 165 degree field of view. So it's not just the 4 cameras coming together to give you the coverage, it's the wide field of view of each of these cameras providing you a complete eagle's eye vision around the car, and you are not going to miss any angle or any area surrounding your car. This dashcam provides you a maximum resolution of 1944p, that's close to 4K resolution at 30 frames per second, along with providing you a full HD resolution on the rest of the 3 cameras, similarly with a 30 frames per second. It also gets various different recording modes, which means you don't have to use all the 4 cameras all the time. So based on your requirement, based on your need, you can convert this 4-channel dashcam to a single channel front only dashcam, or you can also use it as a dual channel, which means front and rear, or you can also use it as a triple channel, that's front, rear and interior. And of course, cherry on top, you can use this as the world's first 4-channel dashcam. The Vantrue N5 gets first in segment rear cabin camera, which covers your trunk, which covers your back seat, your side windows, and this can help you monitor your kids, your pets in the back seat, and even the luggage within your trunk. Due to continuous monitoring from 4 cameras of the Vantrue N5, this can provide you some important evidence in hit and run cases from both front and the rear of the car. And of course, the good thing being this covers the sides of the car as well. The front cabin camera and the interior cabin camera are able to cover the sides of the car, so anybody approaching your car from the side, trying to take a look inside the car, peeking inside the car through the window, or putting their hand to grab some of your valuables which might be in the car, everything will be recorded and everything can be used as evidence. The front camera of the Vantrue N5 gets the StarViz 2 IMX675 sensor along with WDR, that's wide dynamic range. So during nighttime and during low light conditions, you will be assured that you are going to get the best possible footage because the StarViz 2 is specifically built for those low light conditions. The front cabin camera and the rear cabin camera both get 4 infrared lights, wherein the rear cabin and the specific rear camera get HDR capability as well. This dashcam also gets dual Wi-Fi, that's 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz. You can connect to any network which you want, and also gets dual GPS for accurate positioning on the road. You also get a Vantrue app for Apple iPhone and all Android phones, along with Windows PC, wherein you get a specific Vantrue software which you can use to access the video files, access the GPS data log, you can access the G sensor data, everything all under one single Windows PC app. This dashcam also gets some advanced parking monitoring features with all 4 cameras. You get collision detection, motion detection from front and the rear, you get low bitrate recording and low frame rate recording. It also gets buffered parking protection, which means any collision or any abnormal vibration the dashcam detects, the video file is saved from 10 seconds prior to that collision, so that you know what exactly happened and how the event unfolded. Another good thing about this dashcam is that this gets voice control with multiple voice commands. So this means you can control the dashcam without even having to lift your finger. All you need to do is say out those specific voice commands such as turn on or turn off Wi-Fi, turn on or turn off the screen, or even the audio. I mean, basically you can do lots of stuff just by using the voice control features of this dash camera. The Vantrue N5 also gets a magnetic windshield mount, so it's basically very easy to plug in and plug out the windshield mount as per your requirement and as per your need. Last but not the least, this dash cam gets a super capacitor and also supports memory cards up to 512 GB. And if you do use a 512 GB memory card, you'll get about 35 to 40 hours worth of footage from all the 4 cameras. So if you already like the features of the Vantrue N5 and if you're interested in purchasing it, the link to purchase it is given in the description below. Head down, click on the link, of course check out all of its details and go ahead and purchase it as well. But if you want to gather some more info and you want some detailed knowledge about the dashcam before you make that purchase decision, let's move on and take a quick look at the video quality of this dash camera along with its number plate readability during day and night time, and follow it up by showing you a quick unboxing, the installation and the on-screen settings along with the app settings and the OTA updates that this dashcam can get for you. So here's the everything you need to know in detail video of the Vantrue N5 4-channel dashcam. Let's take a look. So starting with the front camera video quality, so as you can see, this is a 4:3 aspect ratio because it has a resolution of 2592 into 1944p. This does provide a 30 frames per second video, and along with it, it does provide a 16,000 kbps of bitrate with 118 MB per minute of file size. The video looks sharp and crisp. All colors do look very punchy. The contrast levels do seem to be alright, and of course you do see some sort of reflection, dashboard reflection. But fortunately, Vantrue does provide an optional CPL filter which you can purchase at a later time to get rid of those reflections. The overall video quality is simply stunning. I mean, a 1944p combined with a StarViz 2 is as good as a 4K resolution. So the overall picture quality, the video quality and all the parameters of the video such as the brightness, contrast, saturation and sharpness levels do seem very balanced, very natural, and this is more than enough kind of a footage which you can expect from the front camera of the Vantrue N5. So moving on to the front cabin camera, now this is where things take a turn because this is not a 1944p but rather a full HD 1080p resolution video with 30 frames per second. It has close to 10,000 kbps of bitrate and a 74 MB per minute of file size, and the front cabin camera also gets a 160-degree field of view that's wide enough to cover the driver side window and to some extent the passenger side window as well. So the interior camera also gives out some really good footage under bright sunlit conditions, although you see the difference when you compare it with the front camera, but overall the video quality of the interior camera is satisfactory and more than enough for any kind of evidence-based purposes you might want to use the dashcam for. So the overall video quality of the front cabin camera does seem really good for the price point. Moving on to the rear cabin camera, so this is the industry's first rear cabin camera with a very wide field of view of 160 degrees, giving you the entire vantage point view of the front windshield, the front windows, specifically the rear windows and even the rear quarter glasses, including the trunk area. So the specifications of this camera are very similar to the front cabin camera. This too provides a 1080p full HD resolution with 30 frames per second, along with close to 10,000 kbps of bitrate and a 74 MB per minute of file size. Now, talking about the overall video quality, this does seem to be a tad bit lesser in terms of sharpness and maybe a bit brighter, which means slightly higher on the exposure side. But the overall video quality is quite decent and usable for any evidence-based purposes which you might want the dashcam for. And of course, the rear cabin camera also gets 4 infrared LED lights, which means even during night time, the rear cabin camera will provide some really good footage which is not completely darked out. Moving on to the rear camera quality, now this too provides a 1080p full HD resolution with 30 frames per second and a similar 10,000 kbps of bitrate with a 74 MB per minute of file size. The various parameters of the video do look pretty much balanced and natural, but a point to note is that the rear camera does seem to be a bit more focused on the near side and rather slightly out of focus for the farther off areas. The overall video quality, although, is still very good and much better compared to most of the other rear camera qualities which we have seen till date. This being a 1080p full HD camera will be probably good enough to read number plates at a very close range only, and you shouldn't be expecting an excellent read of a number plate at a very far range. The rear camera also supports HDR, which means you get a broader dynamic range with punchy colors rather than when comparing to a rear camera which doesn't get HDR, giving you a comparison of all the 4 cameras together during night time. So as you can see, on the top left you see the front camera, on the top right is the front cabin camera, at the bottom left is the rear cabin camera, and at the bottom right is the rear camera. Now I can immediately make out that the front cabin and the rear cabin camera are black and white, which means they are recording in infrared range because the cabin is pretty much dark, and a regular camera will turn out to give you a completely blacked out footage. The front camera and the rear camera are giving good enough footage. Also do note that the rear camera does catch some tail light reflection, that is a red light from the car's tail light, and this tends to cause some sort of a glare in the rear camera footage, but nothing to be major concerned of, and this is quite a normal feature. Now here's a sample of the time-lapse recording, or should I say the low frame rate recording, which I did when I had parked the car. So all round coverage you can expect from this camera, and this is specifically, or this is exactly what you're going to get when you park the car and when you enable the parking mode from the Vantrue N5. So anybody coming close to anywhere near your car, the dash cam's 4 cameras will record every action, and this is specifically important because most of us are looking for good parking monitoring solutions, because we tend to park our car in unknown spaces, in dark spaces, and sometimes unsafe spaces. So in such cases, having a 4-channel dashcam such as the Vantrue N5 will be really helpful, and footages like this will be crucial enough to give you evidence, to give you all the info of what happened around the car when you had parked it and left it away for a long time. So if you are looking for a perfect parking monitoring solution and the safest way, the N5 is the one for you. So in this particular snapshot, I want to show you a very specific use of the rear cabin camera. So as you can see, in the top left and the top right and the bottom right, you don't see any vehicle, but in reality there is a vehicle right next to it. So if you can see the rear cabin camera at the bottom left, you can see that there was a two-wheeler right next to my car at a pretty much close proximity, but the front camera and the rear camera failed to identify or capture it. Even the front cabin camera is not able to capture that. So this is a blind spot if you have a 3-channel setup only. So your front camera, rear camera and the front cabin camera, which generally comes in all 3-channel dash cams, does have a blind spot, and this is where the rear cabin camera comes into play. You can specifically make out the position of the vehicle and even identify the vehicle and the driver in the rear cabin camera footage only. He is not visible in the rest of the 3 cameras. So this is why the rear cabin camera becomes equally important, because in times of need, in times of very specific kind of evidence required, the rear cabin camera might be very helpful to you. So moving on to the number plate readability from the front camera, as you can see, there is a Maruti Brezza right next to me, or should I say right in front of me, about a distance of 10 feet or less than that. And if you zoom in to take a look at its number plate, a crystal clear read of the number plate, no problems in this specific example. All letters and numbers are clearly visible and there's absolutely no noise. But if we increase the distance from less than 10 feet to about 20 feet or more, and if we try to take a look at the number plate at such high distances, you still get to read the number plate. Although you might say it looks slightly blurred, and I'll totally agree with you. That's because of the magnification factor and for the fact that this is not really a 4K camera, but still a 1944p camera giving you a very good read of number plate, a very readable read of the number plate at a distance of 20 feet or more is still a really good aspect of this dashcam, and definitely worth the money you're putting into it. Moving on to the nighttime sample, so as you can see in this specific example, you have 3 cars at 3 different distances, and if we zoom in to take a look, so as you can see, all 3 number plates are clearly visible even during nighttime, and under the glare of headlights, the number plate readability because of the StarVis 2 sensor is very good and very impressive compared to all the cameras which probably don't get a StarVis 2 sensor. So if I zoom in on the farthest vehicle, that is a Mahindra XUV, you can clearly see that this is a very good read of a number plate in spite of being at such a farther distance and under the glare of my headlights. What more do you want? The front camera along with the StarVis 2 sensor, it's doing its job pretty well, and this should be the kind of number plate readability which you should aspire for in your next dashcam. So now let's move on and take a quick look at the unboxing of the Vantrue N5 and see what you get inside the box. Alright, so here's the Vantrue N5 4-channel dashcam. The box packing pretty much resembles the Vantrue Nexus 4 Pro box pack. So here's the Nexus 4 Pro box pack, and as you can see, it's the same camera at front but with a variation in the rear camera. The Vantrue branding is also missing at front, and the Nexus branding is also missing on the N5 4-channel dashcam. So let's quickly take a look at what's inside the box and what you get once you buy the N5 4-channel. So straight up inside the box, you get this wiring sheet which shows you the proper way to connect the dashcam to its various different accessories. Alright, so straight up inside, the first thing in the box, you get the front camera with the same kind of a design which comes in the Vantrue Nexus 4 Pro. The interior camera with 4 infrared lights, you get this display, you get the control buttons at the bottom with ventilation holes, and you get a specific punch design here wherein the windshield mount plugs in into these connectors. You have this Vantrue branding at front and a large lens module. At the other side, you get this nice orange colored power button, and of course this lid is detachable to give you the options of inserting the memory card right here, and of course you also get a reset button right here. On the other side, you get the N5 branding. On top of the dash cam, you get the rear camera Type-C port. So keeping this aside, let's move on and take a look at the rear camera, which is probably the world's first rear camera which also gets a interior cabin camera as well. Now as soon as you open up the rear camera, you get this sheet right here which shows you how you need to wire the dash cam. So basically this means the cabin camera should come towards the right when you look at the rear windshield, and it should not come towards the left of the dash cam when you look at it from the front seat. So this is very important because most of us can get confused while installing this specific dash cam because there is no other camera, specifically a rear camera like this. Alright, so here it is, the first rear camera I am seeing of a dash cam which gets 2 cameras. A proper rear camera to record what's happening behind the car, and a rear cabin camera with 4 infrared LEDs built in. That's pretty good, right? And of course this is rotatable as well, so as you can see it's rotatable up to 90 to 100 degrees. I feel you get a flat windshield mount right at the middle of the rear camera, and on the side you get a Type-C AV out cable. A very interestingly designed, a very uniquely designed rear camera, and of course the world's first rear camera to get an inside rear view cabin camera as well. So let's keep it here. Following this, you get the rear camera power cable with 2 Type-C ports at each end of the wire. You also get a data transfer cable with a Type-A port at one end and a Type-C port at the other end. So this is a short cable indicating this for data transfer. Following that, you also get a wire installation tool in the box with the Vantrue branding. Then you have the windshield mount for the N5, and you have these 5-pin connectors right here which plug in into the front camera just like this. So all you need to do is just align the windshield mount to its proper socket area and plug it in, and it's basically done. Your camera is ready to mount. You also get 2 additional 3M stickers, one for the front camera and one for the rear camera. So this is the main power cable with a Type-C port at one end and also gets a L-shaped connector. At the other end, you get a pre-attached 12-volt car charger adapter which gets a built-in Type-A USB port. So this means your 12-volt car charger socket won't be blocked out completely, so you can use one device using the USB port. Then at the bottom of the box, you get a quick user guide for the Vantrue N5, all the things, all the specifications which you need to know about this dash cam, covering each and every aspect. You can go through this user guide once you buy the dash cam. You get 2 electrostatic stickers to be used for either front and the rear camera. You also get 2 primer wipes within the box. There's also a Vantrue branded cleaning cloth, and you also get windshield sticker which you can stick on either your front or the rear windshield, and it says protected by Vantrue dash cams. Alright, to give you a complete overview, you get a user guide in the box, 2 primer wipes, a wire installation tool, 2 electrostatic stickers, a cleaning cloth, the main dual channel camera with a detachable mount, so the interior camera at the back, and you get the world's first rear camera which also gets an interior cabin camera. You get the Vantrue windshield sticker. You get the main power cable with a pre-attached 12-volt socket along with a single USB port. You also get 2 additional stickers, one for the front and one for the rear. And in this box you get the rear camera cable along with the data transfer cable. So these are all the things which you get inside the Vantrue N5 box. So let's start up with the installation, and in this video I'll just show you a quick way to install the dashcam. Just follow the steps being shown on the video and you will be able to install the Vantrue N5 pretty quickly and pretty smartly. Alright, so as you're seeing right now, this is the main screen of the Vantrue N5, and you get a broad wide display which shows you the front camera, the interior camera, the cabin rear camera and the rear camera all in one display. You can also change the different views using the buttons below. So as you're seeing right now, I'm switching between the various different views, and currently this is the front, the interior, the cabin rear and the rear camera. Of course, you also get a picture-in-picture mode as well. So heading into the settings, the on-screen settings of this dashcam, you need to stop the recording first in order to head into the settings. So let's just stop the recording. Alright, so the recording is now stopped. So let's head into the main settings. So within the main settings, you get three options: system setup, files and record setup. So first let's head into the record setup. So within the record setup, you get first option, that is the resolution. And if we head into that, you can select the resolution of various different cameras. So at front, the first option, you get the front cabin, rear cabin and the rear. If you head into that, you get various different resolution options, the best and the top option being the 1944p resolution for the front and a 1080p for all the rest of the three cameras at 30 frames per second. Following that, you have the 1440p for the front and 1080p for all the three. Then you have 1440p for the front, 720p for the cabin rear and the rear camera gets a 1080p. Of course, along with that, you also get a full HD resolution for all the cameras. Then you get a 1080p plus 720p plus 1080p option. Then you get a all 720p option as well. So I would recommend keeping it at 1944p for the best possible resolution. Heading back, you can just select the front and the cabin rear camera. If you head into that, again you get various different options between 1944p and 1080p. So you can select this based on your requirement. Then you can have a front and rear cabin plus rear. So basically you can select a triple channel system if you don't want to have the recording of all four cameras. You can also shift to a dual channel system, front and the front cabin. You can also select only the front and rear, so no interior recording will happen. And of course, you can also select only the front, so all the rest of the three cameras will be disabled. And this will mean you only have a single channel dashcam. And in this, the highest resolution is still the 2592 x 1944p at 30 fps. So in one camera, you get the goodness of a single channel, a dual channel, a triple channel and a quad channel setup. And you can select this based on your requirement whenever you want, wherever you want. Following this, the next option is the loop recording option. And if you head into this, you can completely turn off the loop recording, or you can keep it at 1 minute, 3 minutes and up to 5 minutes. The next option being the infrared LED option. Currently it is set at auto. You can set it to turn it off, or you can keep the infrared LEDs always on. I would recommend keeping it at auto. Then you have the G sensor option for the front and rear, for the left and right and for up and down. So if you head into the front and rear, you have the sensitivity levels, completely turn it off, level 3, level 2 and level 1. If you head into the left and right, you can again select the sensitivity in a similar fashion. Then coming to the up and down, again same levels of sensitivity adjustment. Heading back, the next option being privacy mode. You can turn it off or turn it on. Then you have audio recording, basically the mic option. You can enable or disable this based on your requirement. Then you have the audio noise reduction. If you head into that, you can enable or disable the noise reduction from the audio as well. Then you have the exposure option, and you can specifically select or alter the exposure of each individual camera separately, and this gives you a lot of variation, a lot of flexibility in terms of controlling the video quality of each camera. Moving down, you have the recording light status. You can keep it on or keep it off based on your requirement. Then you have WDR, that's wide dynamic range. You can turn it on or turn it off. Then you have the rear HDR. If you head into that, you can turn it on or turn it off. Let's just turn it off for now. And then you have the option to rotate the display of front and the front cabin and rear cabin and the rear. You can rotate the display, and the next option being you can mirror the display as well. Following this, you have the number plate option. You can turn it off or turn it on. Then you have the timestamp option. Basically, you can head into this setting and you can enable the check boxes given here, which indicate which of the options are selected. You can display the date and time. You can display the brand model stamp, license plate number stamp and the speed stamp as well. And of course, you can also disable all of this. Then you have the time-lapse recording mode. Of course, you can turn it off completely or you can keep it at 1 FPS, 5, 10 or 15 FPS. Then you have the parking mode option, the most important option for this camera, and within this, as soon as you select OK, it gives you a pop-up menu saying please select collision detection if in summer exposure environment. So within the parking mode, the first option is the off option. Basically, you can turn off the parking mode right from the screen. Then you have the collision detection option, and if you head into that, you have the collision detection sensitivity starting from 1 and going all the way up to 5. Then you have the motion detection option, and within this you have the low, medium and high sensitivity setting for motion detection. Then you have the low bitrate mode option. Within this, the video will be recorded but in a low bitrate. You have the option of 1080p 15 fps and 720p 15 fps. Then you have the low frame rate option. This is basically a time-lapse mode wherein the video will be recorded at either 1 fps, 5, 10 or 15 fps. So very good and advanced options in terms of getting parking mode out of this dashcam. So the next option being the low light night vision in parking mode. You can turn it off or turn it on. Then you have collision detection in parking mode. Within this you have two options, power saving mode and quick start mode. Then you have the motion detection area, so you can basically select the area where the camera should focus in order to detect motion, and this works in two cameras, the front camera and the rear camera. If we head into the front area detection, it is currently at 5x. We can zoom in to select it at 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x or 5x. So basically this is the smallest area and the camera will be activated only when it detects motion within this small area. But if you want the camera to detect motion in all the areas where it covers, you have to set it at 5x. Similarly, you can set the rear area detection as well. So as you can see, it is currently at 5x heading to 1x. So this is a zoomed in area and the camera will activate only when it detects motion in that specific area. Zooming out 2x, 3x, 4x and 5x. You can select the area where you want the camera to detect motion. Heading back to the main menu, you have the mileage statistics. You can turn it off or turn it on. Then you have the GPS settings. If you head into that, you have a sub menu where you can enable the GPS to turn on or turn off. Then you have the speed unit option in kilometers per hour or miles per hour. Then you have the GPS information, that is the strength of the GPS signal coming on the dashcam. So that's it. These were the recording settings, or should I say the record setup settings. Moving on to the system setup. First option is the language, then you have the Wi-Fi option, then basically you have the voice control option, and if you head into that, you can select the sensitivity of the voice control as well, and of course you can completely turn off the voice control as well. Then you have the voice content, wherein it gives you all the voice commands which this dashcam supports. You can take a look at these commands and you can use this in order to control the dashcam. Then you have the format SD card option, then you have the format reminder setup. Then you have the time and date option, auto LCD off option. Basically you can set the screen to turn off at 30 seconds, after 1 minute, after 3 minutes, or you can set it to off always. Then you have the LCD brightness. I would recommend keeping this at auto. Then you have the device sound, basically the speaker option. Then you have the warning tone option, then the frequency option, system info, certification info and the default settings. So these were the options under the system setup. If we head into the file section and if I click the OK button, it's going to take a few seconds, but as soon as it does, it opens up a new menu where it gives you an option of watching the event videos, the normal videos, all the photos recorded and all files shown up together. If I head into the normal video section, it gives you a list of all the videos that have been recorded by the dashcam. So you can go through this, and of course if you click OK on any one of the button, it's going to display, or should I say play, the video that's recorded, which is currently stored on the memory card. So basically this means you can access all the recorded videos right on the display of the dashcam without even having to remove the SD card at any point of time. So this is a really cool feature because you can easily access videos and you can go through the recordings based on your requirement. Similarly, you can go through the photos and the event videos as well. So these were the on-screen settings for the Vantrue N5 quad channel dashcam. So here are all the steps to show you how you can connect your Vantrue N5 dashcam to the Vantrue app on your smartphone. So just follow the instructions being shown on the screen right now and you will be able to connect your dashcam to the smartphone flawlessly. So the settings inside the app are pretty much similar to the settings you find on the on-screen settings. So you can basically alter the settings right on the screen, and you never have to access the settings within the app because they are practically the same. But of course, you have the convenience of doing it either on your smartphone or right on the screen of the dash camera. You do get OTA updates right within the app. So as you're seeing right now, this is the OTA or the firmware update process for the Vantrue N5. First of all, you'll need to download the update by connecting to your Wi-Fi network. Once the download gets complete, the app will provide you instructions on how you can update the dash camera. So the app is going to push the update file to the dashcam step by step, and the dashcam is going to restart and going to update itself, and it's going to show up on the screen that the firmware is updating on the dashcam. So it becomes very important that you do not disconnect the dashcam from its power source when the update is happening, because that might lead to a crash in the dashcam software. So it's really good that Vantrue provides regular firmware updates to the dashcam to keep them working in a flawless condition. So this is one of the highlights of buying a Vantrue dashcam. You get the convenience of getting OTA updates right within the app. Whew, I'm so tired right now. So this was the most extensive and elaborate video showing you all the aspects of the Vantrue N5 4-channel dashcam. And if you're convinced by now to purchase this, go ahead, click on the description, you'll find the link right there. And guys, if you did like this video and if this video has helped you out in any way, make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now and smash that like button. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you get notified each time I upload a new video. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp page. The links to those are given in the description as well. So if you have any queries or doubts regarding this dashcam, you can always write that down in the comments. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. I'm going to grab a pizza. I'm very tired. See you in the next one.